in the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent, the one who directs the sunships of millions and trillions of years, the one who made time the seed of the universe, known among the ancient Kemites or Egyptians as Amun-Ra and Aton, among the Hebrews as Ansaf, Yahweh, Elohim, among the Christians as Lord, God, and Jehovah, among the Muslims in the Islamic world as Allah, the one God, among the Rastafarians as Jah, Rastafari, among the Yoruba tribe as Olodumare, Obatala, and many, many other Orisha gods. I bear witness that all of those names refer to the same one, Almighty God. And it is to him whom I give reverence and to whom I submit. I boldly proclaim that we, those children of those black men and women who survived the transatlantic slave trade, are the lost 13 tribe, born here in North America, and we are of a Nubian Kemetic lineage. I further proclaim that the blood of all the nations of the world flow through our veins. I greet you in ancient but yet holy words of peace, in the languages of our fathers, of Hotep, Shalom, Assalamu alaikum, Abaragani, Alafia, and Ashe. Greetings, greetings. I am Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton, founder of this Toma Nation, aka Temple of Mercy Association, along with the co-founder, Minister Omari Jahi Aton, and the First Lady, Sister Makita Aisha Aton. I bring you greetings. We are an all-inclusive, Black conscious, righteous movement dedicated to the upliftment of Black people here in North America and indigenous people around the world. Today is Wednesday, March 6th, 2024, bringing you part 2 from our Sunday lecture entitled The Destruction of the Black Family. And the subtitle is The Reconstruction of the Black Family. So in review, if you heard from us this past Sunday, I only have about 30 minutes. So I just want to let you know that we started with one of our prescribed readings, which was God, the Black Man in Truth, which is written by Ben Ami from a Hebrew perspective. And our other book was Black Root Science. Modi Mocha is the author. And so I wanted to continue where we left off, dealing with what we need to do as parents, Black people, when it comes to the re-education of our children and teaching them these truths that they need to know to become sons and daughters of God, or the great mind, as we in Toma call that entity. So I want to start real quickly with, to educate Black children properly, we must separate from other children. There's no way to teach our children properly as long as they're mixed in with the other races. There are many reasons why that is so, right? But one of the main reasons is we, Black people, made those other races in our image. So Sunday we showed how that took place, all right? And we're letting you know that how can other parents set in there and let their children hear the truth that we are the gods of this planet and we created them. So the fact is that we have to teach our own children. And the form and the method that we used hundreds of thousands of years ago, they involve rituals, which help them to relive our past instead of being inside of an enclosed space trying to learn this stuff. This system, this school system that we're under, incarcerates the children. That means like put them in a jail-like environment And in the black neighborhoods in Chicago, mostly every new elementary and high school that's built either looks like a courthouse, you know, like when you go to court, or it looks like a county jail or something. And so with that type of mentality, you know, they created this system that gives the image or the, what you may call the atmosphere of being incarcerated inside a fenced up prison, completely removed from society. See, subliminally preparing our children to start going to court and going to jail and being comfortable with being in a jail-like environment. See, so that's some pretty deep stuff, but that's exactly what they're doing. So we're saying we have to go back to how we once did it. And somewhere in here, we were talking about plants, and that's where I want to go real quick to add that part to it. So first, the children are encouraged to indulge in their imagination, you know, and their imagination dealing with the worlds that they are involved in their mind, in their imagination. It says everyone knows that young children have imaginary friends in imaginary worlds that are as real to them as you and me sitting here. So in this classroom, we're talking about they are encouraged to indulge in these worlds of the imagination to the utmost degree possible for their minds. It also says once all the children entered this imaginary world, the teachers put in it 7 of the original plants and animals using their own imagination. They recreate them into this world the same way you intentionally create objects in your dreams. The first 7 or so plants and animals they put in it correspond to those aspects of character that are the first to develop in a child. Now, let me read this to you. So now we're talking about integrity. We're talking about character. We're talking about happiness, friendliness, activeness. All right. So dealing with just that, this law of integrity of character means that all plants and animals evolve according to the integrity of the character of the dominant culture on earth. I'm going to go back to that hopefully before 7:30. The evolution or the physical development of plants and animals follows precisely in the footsteps of the morality or the immorality of those who comprise the dominant civilization, such as the dominant civilization on this planet that's ruling is the white race. And so plants and animals will evolve from their thoughts. If they're living an immoral life instead of a life of righteous conduct, then they will produce from their minds these kind of animals. Now I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay. In the case of the ancient culture of our ancestors, before the advent of the light races and white races, the animals and plants were far different than they are today. The largest animals were much larger than they are today. The tallest trees were much taller also. They reflected the stature of the people who lived then. Back at that time, we talk about over 1 trillion years ago, the people were tall, averaging about 7.5 feet tall. The sizes of the largest animals and the tallest trees were a symbol of the dignified stature of these people. Furthermore, there were no animals like apes, no apes, crows, bats, rats, mosquitoes, and other foul animals. All these animals, as well as poisonous plants, started developing 6,000 years ago. Talking about when the white race was created 6,000 years ago. Their development is a direct reflection of the nature of the rulers of the world. All right, talking about the development of these animals and plants is a direct reflection of the nature of the rulers of the world. Now, to be specific, blood-sucking animals and other parasites are a direct reflection of the parasitic nature of the light races, especially as it is most obvious among Jews, Arabs, and other Near East Asians. Foul animals like snakes reflect their deceptive nature, especially those of Caucasians and Far East Asians like the Chinese and Japanese. Other disgusting animals represent other foul natures of these people. Now, before the light races came into existence, these animals did not exist as they are today. After the races were born, Chinese, Japanese, Caucasian, all right, Hispanics, after the races were born and started showing their evil nature, the foul animals then began to develop accordingly. But not all animals were affected to the same extent. Some animals still retain a large part of their purity. For example, most cats, especially lions, tigers, etc., they retain most of their pure nature. Dogs, on the other hand, were mostly affected, as can be seen in the dog family like coyotes, hyenas. They weren't around when we were peaceably living on this planet by ourselves. And all the dogs that have been bred from them, there's only one dog that remained unaffected by the appearance of the evil nature of the white races. And that's this African dog known as Pharaoh's Hound, which is black in color and still exists today in some parts of Africa. This clean, non-smelling, non-barking, majestic dog is represented in ancient Kemetic art as the god Anubis. Other graceful animals and plants like butterflies, see, those were around. Some birds, flowers, and trees also remain unaffected. The evolution of all plants and animals therefore follow the inner nature of the most influential people in any civilization. All development of life is recorded in the magnetic field of the earth. This recording comes directly from the minds of people. It condenses into magnetic substance and combines with the magnetic field of the earth. The plants and animals receive the direction for their development directly from this magnetic field, which acts as the mind of the earth. Y'all didn't know the earth was alive, did you? And that the earth had a mind, that the earth thinks, that the earth feels pain. We're living on a living sphere. All right? It is influenced by the collective minds of the members of the dominant civilization. So this is why wildlife came. When this white man came into the garden and had sex with Eve, even in the children's books, in the children's Bible books, you will see that the garden was looking nice and groomed and smooth, and the plants and animals were plants and animals that didn't kill and maim and tear and all. And as soon as Eve met this snake, and it's talking about his nature, again, that did not exist at that time until he showed up, until his people came on the planet. So this snake having sex with Eve, if you look in the pages of the children's books, you'll see a garden, vines and tigers and lions and monkeys swinging all through the place, all kind of stuff. That means that we are directly aligned with the plants and animals on the planet Earth. The black man, the black woman. And so in our past, when we were coming up, thousands of years ago, millions and trillions of years ago, we were given a plant and an animal. And it corresponds with our character, our nature, because we were born righteous. We became evil, copying after that evil nature being that was placed in this planet that was actually created by us. And our children need to know this. And we ourselves have to teach them. All right? So the knowledge of that is important in order to understand the effect of human minds on animals. So now, if you notice, when Trump was in office, all right, everybody was acting like they had some sort of a, when we said that a lot of people's heavens was going to be on fire, people was going to be going into the crazy house and things like that. Well, because you don't know this, but Trump has a psychological mental challenge. I hope you can recognize that. So while he was president, that became dominant in the world. President Clinton, when sex became real rampant in America and oral sex became real rampant in America. Just go back and look at how everybody was all into that and talking about it. It was all in the movies and whatnot, all because of this one thing that happened in the White House with Clinton, with this girl, I forgot her name, Monica Lewinsky, who, by the way, she was set there to set him up by the Jewish community. Now, coming back to this, teaching our children outside in a garden, all right, kept our children close to nature and that which was natural. By being close to nature and that which is natural, our children were able to get back and get as close to God as they possibly could. Not teach them in a place and you go out in the back is a playground. No, an actual garden. Not a jungle. Where all those bright colors, they can learn what they are about. How their energy can align with the aura and energy of plants. The black child learning more about himself and his association with the plants, his association with the animals. See, if you notice, even Yeshua learned this. Even Moses learned this. They were dealing with nature when they were walking this earth. Moses sent locusts. Moses sent frogs and many other insects and animals into Pharaoh's kingdom as weapons. We as black people shouldn't be afraid of bees and spiders and whatnot, because they are there to help us during the time when we are attacked on the same level as Russia attacked Ukraine and on the same level as Israel attacking the Palestinians coming to a theater near us. And we got to be ready, and our children got to be ready. And so because black people are the chosen of God, inside of the chosen is a chosen few. That chosen few is responsible for bringing that information to our people so that we can put it out there like Jesus said, and those who are his will hear his voice and harden not their heart, and they will come in. Then we will give them this teaching, all right? Not just from Black Root Science, but the teaching of all of our prescribed readings so we can be well-rounded, where we can be able to go into any religion that black people are involved in and don't disrespect them because we know about them. We know their history. We know how they think. We know how they pray. See, we got to be almost like an ambassador who know many languages. This is how we are going to get back that which was once ours. It's bigger than just buy back your neighborhood. It's bigger than just buy back all the properties and things. No, we, brothers and sisters, rule this planet. Just like the white man running it now. At one time, we ran it. Our people ran this planet. All right? And that's the level we got to get back on. It might take 300 years, 500 years, but if we don't start, it'll never happen. So we're getting close to that point where we've told our people to homeschool their children. But now they need the curriculum, which means we got to teach parents the curriculum of our brothers and sisters or our children becoming one with nature, becoming one with things that are natural, becoming one with the circuitry of the universe and tapping into its sources. See, if we made all these inventions, almost 99 inventions, almost everything in your house and outside was invented by one of us, and we were in our sleep state because we still got shackles around our brain. Imagine how we was during Kemet. Imagine how we were before Kemet. Imagine how we were over 10, 20, 30 trillion years ago, when there were no white people on the planet in the trillions. That's why they can't think in the trillions. They weren't here. We came with the earth. So imagine how we would become once we know how to hook back in and connect, all right, to the great mind of the universes, the great mind of the galaxies, the great mind of all the constellations. They just put this new telescope out there, and they focused on an area in space that looked like it wasn't too many stars around it. It looked like it was just clear. And they focused this new telescope in space, and they thought they wasn't going to see nothing but total darkness. They found more universes, y'all. They're finding more galaxies, you all. They're finding more planets, y'all. And in each universe, brothers and sisters, is another Earth like this. And in each universe, brothers, just like that movie called The One, is another you. Yeah. And in reality, you can tap in to that other you if you knew how to control your mind and your thoughts traveling at 24 billion miles per second. You can incarnate in them and see in that world where they are. But now we got to eat right. You got to feed your babies right. See, women got to get back to breastfeeding, but now their bodies got to get right. They got to eat right. Exercise. Stop listening to what the doctors say that they need to do and go back to nature, go back to earth. Getting all the plants in the barks and the leaves and the flowers that they need in order to get their body back in order with nature, being natural. We have a job to do. We're not going to get back into our position of greatness sitting around talking about it. See, and all these religions, if they ain't teaching you this, then you don't need to be there, because all you getting is that same stuff that everybody else get, and it's all a lot of information, and then you just go away and stay passive and don't speak truth to power. Excuse me. So I'm going to read some scripture because it's almost time for me to go. But I thought I'd tell you that about those plants, because when you heard that these plants were a part, and animals were a part of the schooling. See, they gave a situation in the imaginary world of the children. For example, you want to teach them what sadness is. They feel this sadness and immediately become sick in that part of the body. Then they notice the same effect on one of the animals and the plants. The animal becomes sick, the plant begins to decay. They are then encouraged to remove the sadness and replace it with a happy situation by returning the toys or whatever back to their child, restoring their happiness. See, because it all happens in their imagination, the animal and plant are immediately healed and the sickness disappears from the children's bodies. We're talking about thoughts, y'all. Our thoughts, our things. Everything we let bother us and disturb us affects us and the atmosphere around us. You've went in places before and didn't feel comfortable, didn't feel invited, and left out because you feel it. See, our children need to be taught the definitions of all of their feelings: jealousy, envy, happiness, sadness. They need to be taught the definition of all of them so that when they're trying to relate not only to you, but to themselves, and they feel a certain way, they would know exactly what it is and how they feel, and they'll know how to deal with it. But they can't hardly tell you how they feel because nobody gave them the definitions of what those are. Love, they need the definition of that. See, So I'm just sharing some things with you to give back to our children. I know math is there too, read, writing, and arithmetic, but at the same time, they got to learn the deeper math. Their minds are ready. So Toma will be looking at a curriculum for children. Toma will be studying and researching a curriculum from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. And when we say 12th grade, we're not talking about this world's kindergarten to 12. When our children make it to the 12th grade, they will be basically, when they get into high school, they will be doing college courses. I'm talking about the future, y'all. I know it's hard for y'all to see it, but I'm talking about the future. I'm talking about a future that can come because it has to come through us. Look at the world that we're in. And you hear me saying, come out of her all the time. All the time. According to Ben Ami, he said the world today is openly hostile toward what's right and what's godly. See, we were born righteous. But we were born into the sins of this world that is being done by white people, killing, murdering, and all the stuff they've been doing. No leaders come into office dedicating their lives to God. Furthermore, they're very careful not to use his name in their speeches or use his guidelines in their planning. It is an adversary approach. This sick world is a result of sick minds. All the lands are governed by laws and rules established by the rulers. But God, to whom all the earth belongs, does not have even one land governed by his laws. Now, he might be doing some good things, but what about the laws God set up? In all of his books, I don't care which text that you get, emerald tablets or whatever, laws and principles of righteous conduct that was given to us through beings that were assigned to this planet from the great mind of all things. All of that was given to us to bring this planet back to its moral righteousness. This is supposed to be a planet of peace. That's why it's rocking and reeling now, because what it was created for and the type of people to inhabit it is not operating under that mentality. And so the earth itself is sick. Isn't that sad? Psalms 24:1, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Psalms 50, verse 10 and 12, for every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. If I were hungry, I wouldn't tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Imagine black people as the gods that they're supposed to be, knowing this type of stuff. And if God is our Father and we his children, then all that's ours too. Because Yahshua said we are not just heirs, but we're joint heirs to that throne. So all that I'm reading is ours. In Haggai, chapter 2, verse 8, the silver is mine, the gold is mine, said the Lord of hosts. So everybody else outside of us wearing this stuff stole it. Created this little paper that came from trees to making money so you can trade and barter. But that's ours because the earth is ours. It's 7:29. I'm going to close out. So I'm going to leave you all. I just wanted to share that final information with you all. And so now I'm going to leave you as I greeted you. And you can be with us again on Sunday from 12:30 to 1. Every Sunday at 616 East on 71st Street here in Chicago, Illinois. I am Brother Minister Rahim Chesed Aton. I leave you in peace. Hotep. Shalom. In the essence of the eternal divine spirit, the one that causes all that exists to exist, the one that is self-existent,
How many men have children and the children never meet their father? See, you created a void in that child because you are a part of that child.
Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power.